Hello, welcome back to the channel. Gearbox is back together. I've struggled over many days to set the clutch up. I had to put it on and off twice. Off and on and off, or off and on, I don't know, one or the other. I eventually got it right, getting the shims correct in there. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, just type in DQ200 DSG twin dry clutch gearbox clutch install, and there's many videos on how to do it with the right tools, with the specialist tools, which I don't have, hence me having to do lots of manual figuring out of stuff. Anyway, I'll show you the gearbox in a minute. I'm in the shed simply to pick up the battery, put it on a charge, on a trickle charge, ready for when if I get the gearbox back in. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I got up at just gone 12 o'clock in excruciating pain. My hands are really suffering. That's lupus, as in my dry eyes. I've taken the drops in my eyes, painkillers, and the other 8 medications that I'm on for it, well, including it. So I was going to have a rest day today, but time is of the essence in my eyes. I need to get this done, pain or no pain, it has to be done. So therefore I feel, like I said, I've been up 2 hours, I had a little breakfast, so and the tablets have kicked in, medications kicked in. I took that at 7 o'clock this morning, went back to bed. So now I am kind of coherent and kind of ready. No, I'm not. But I just need to crack on with it. So anyway, no babbling, and I'll take you down the bottom and I'll show you the state of play at the moment. Right, bear with. There we are. The battery is now on charge. Well, top up charge basically. Just making sure. See, it's gone up pretty quickly, up to 4 bars, so it shouldn't be long before it's up to 5. Just want to make that max before we get in the car. There's the battery. Yep. The gearbox. There's my clutch. I've got a little bit of grease, just a smear on the splines that goes into the dual mass flywheel roller bearing. See, it's all pretty clean. On the back here, this is where the gear selector goes. That's the front of the engine, front of the car. That's the engine side. This is the left-hand wheel, and obviously this is the back of the engine now. And the reason I haven't put this plastic plinth on there yet is because once the gearbox is hopefully located on the engine, you then literally pour your 1.7 litres of oil. I'm going to put 1.8 in because it's completely utterly dry. You put your 1.8 litres of special VW gearbox oil. I think it's 75, 80. There's that ready to go. Ooh, quality control's having a quick one. Yeah, there we go. That's what you use for the gearbox, because it says manual transmission fluid. Although it's an automatic car, it's not actually automatic in the word of automatic. It is robotically controlled twin gearboxes. So DSG dual shift gearbox. Okay, so this is where we're at. I've got my Mechatronic unit back together as best I could. I had to take the brain fog, can't think of the word. There's a pump in there, a hydraulic pump, pressure pump, high pressure pump. I took that apart because the seals needed replacing on it. and got it back in there. And it's quite weird because you've got the motor, then you've got a little tiny plastic spigot that goes on the end of the motor, and it's got a little slot in it, and then the other end of the little spigot you've got another slot which slots into the pump, and it's all bolted down. But that's plastic, and when I tried to turn the pump over by hand with the new seals in it, it was very tough indeed. And I thought, this little plastic spigot, as soon as that thing whizzes up, that 3-phase motor, it's just going to obliterate that little plastic, tiny little plastic spigot, and that'll be the end of it. But I put my drill on the end with a Torx, I think it's a Torx 15 bit or 20 on the end of the motor, and I spun it up, and the pump seems to be pumping fine. So that's all good. There is the two, where are we? The two forks. Oh, it's all in. I've put this bloody cover on, haven't I? Stupid boy. Well, there we are. New bolts in. Everything's bolted up. I will double check those Torx in a sec. This is a reverse sensor that just snaps in there, and there we have it. There is the twin clutch gearbox. Okay, these splines here line up with the splines. They sit in the splines on the dual mass flywheel, and there we go. I've got a new drive shaft output seal here on the other side, so it's just a question of having some sort of energy to get this A to the car, B off of here onto something slidey, because it needs to be on the ground in order to get between the bumper and the front disc. I have to pull the front disc to the right and somehow gingerly jimmy this into the cavity of the car under the hood bonnet, and then twist it round so this piece is at the front of the car. If you can imagine, I'm going in, so this is the wheel here in the front of the car, going this way, and then I have to spin it round to match up with the engine. Now the engine, the whole weight of the engine is just on a couple of axle stands, so it's a little bit on the wobbly side, but it shouldn't fall. So I need to get this up on my Sealy scissor jack and gingerly wiggle this onto the car, onto the dual mass flywheel housing. And when that's gingerly in, I've got a couple of bolts in here, there and everywhere. I then need to put the bracket on here, which then bolts onto the frame of the car and onto the chassis, the right side chassis. So then I can literally bolt things down, lifting this engine and gearbox assembly from there up to there, whether it's level, and now get the dog leg bearing back in underneath from the chassis to the gearbox, get that all buttoned up, and then hopefully I can start to remove certain axle stands and stuff and get the bolts put in properly, torqued in. Yeah, starter motor reinserted there, reinstall all the wiring, oil in, put the plate on, reconnect the gear selector. This little hole here, this little observation thing, I use that when I try and wiggle the gearbox onto the car engine. You have to spin that like so to align the splines up with the dual mass flywheel. And that's just getting it in. Yeah, what I'm going to do first of all is measure the height from the ground to the bottom of the gearbox, and then I'm going to get my little Stanley or Sealy, whatever it is, bike jack out. I'm going to start winding that up with the impact gun. Probably not the impact gun, not the best thing to use, is it? I'm going to grease the auger of it first. That's the threaded bolt which makes it rise and lower. Need to grease that thoroughly, and then I need to measure how far the thing actually goes up, because I need it to go up far enough to align the gearbox with the bottom of the engine. If it doesn't go that far, I don't know what I'm going to do. So yeah, first things first. Anyway, fingers crossed, wish me luck. Go and get yourselves a brew and get ready with your flags and your banners or your thumbs down, and we'll see what happens. Okay, well, welcome back to my channel if you're subscribed. If you're not subscribed, why not? Please drop a like. It does, I think it does help me in some way or other. Don't know. But thank you to Kevin for offering assistance in getting this up and in. Do appreciate it, mate. I know you're at work today. I'm just going to give it a go because there is no room for bodies around. You're either in it or on it, sort of thing. I think it's a one-man person, but you know, Caroline's going to be on standby in case anything happens, drop anything on my hands or whatever. Yeah, anyway, so thanks for your offer, Kev. If I don't manage it, or the jack doesn't go up high enough or whatever, I'll arrange a date for you to come over with me, perhaps, possibly, and we'll do something to get it in, basically. Right, too much waffling. Need to get on.
Oh no, it's going to come off.
Right, put the handbrake on. Yeah, if you move the car out of the way, I'm going to whiz the wheel off, see if I can tie wrap the suspension back. I really need two hands to slide this down onto there. This is a bit of perspex, so it should slide readily, and it's extremely thin. Right, so off I go. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ow. Ow. Here's my Sealy bike jack. Like I say, I need to grease up that spine in there. I keep it greased normally pretty well. So that's that. It's been that long that we've got spidey webs in here. I hope they're friendly. But yeah, so I've got to get it sort of in there, swing it round to there, and I've got to measure that height from there to the bottom of the flywheel sort of thing, and then transfer it across to see. I'm pretty sure it's okay, but no point in getting 80% of the way and then you've got to pack out that before that looks too big for the hole, doesn't it? But it does go in there. Like I say, the engine is if you can see that, it's a little bit on the wobbly side. But it's in there and it's not going to fall down. Oh my god, I am really so not looking forward to this. Right, I've got to keep covered up because of the UV rays. They affect you badly, make you rash up and flare, and it's not good. Anyway, I have greased my shaft all the way down. The most important thing to grease is this little bearing here, because if that fails, that's taking all the weight. So keep that well greased, guys. Anyway, I've got a little greasy, I nicked that out of the cake baking drawer, filled it with grease, and it's brilliant. Right, got the gearbox stabilizer bar, that's about all parts cleaned. Got some pieces of wood just to put under certain parts of the gearbox, because unfortunately the bottom of the gearbox isn't flat, it's sort of like that. So you need to, anyway, this is as far as I'm prepared to go with this jack height wise, and it's 14 inches and a half, and that gap under there is 14 inches, so it's going to be close. I don't want to go any higher. I could probably eke out another 1/4 of an inch with this jack, but that's an awful lot of weight just to be on these not so sturdy looking bolts in the scissor mechanism. Right, I will also put a bit of grease down there on these bottom runners just to make life a little bit easier for that to roll backwards and forwards. Okay, right, wheel off, out of the way, under the car for extra protection in case the car decides to off of its axle stands, and then get that out the way, slide that down onto my slidey mat, slide it in, spin it, reverse it back, and then somehow I've got to get it onto the jack, unless I wind this right down, put this on top of there, so it should be almost level with the curb, and then sort of walk that across on top of it. That's the plan, isn't it? Then, yeah, inject it into there. Oh, what am I doing? Ta-da! I've managed to get that back enough, and I've scratched this up a little bit, but so what? The sanding bit of paint, that'll be fine. So I've got it through into this area. Now I've got to drive it on in and do a left hand down, and then we can start winding. These things can't be rushed. That's taken about 5 minutes, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. I had to use me pry bar just in there, just to keep jimmying that away from the lower suspension arm. Look at me start a motor all covered in cobwebs. Well, I'm going to carry on sliding and hopefully get it in some sort of situ. I think there's a thumbs up so far, don't you? Okay, so I've managed to twizzle it around to its orientation, but as you can see I can't go back any further because of this bush. So now what I have to do is go to the front, start winding it up. I'm just going to use a socket, a ratchet. I've got to lift it up a bit at a time to clear all this stuff here, and then up and in, up and in, up and in, so it goes sort of like that in a diagonal, up and in, up and in, up and in, up and in, like that. So nothing too difficult. I might need a little bit of me packing just to go under this side of the box because it is actually leaning towards me here. But having said that, that's not far away from the angle that the engine's leaning at, so we'll deal with that as we get to it. I've had to order some more specific hydraulic oil for Mechatronics. You can't just put any old hydraulic in there because there is open terminals in there, and the oil that goes in cannot be at all in any way, shape or form electrical conductive. This fluid has to be absolutely resistant because otherwise it shorts out the motor and that. So I think initially VW didn't put the right oil in their own gearboxes. If you're on down in the comments. And then they had to change it because the motors kept burning out. They kept arcing across all the fluid around it. So yeah, anyway, specifically thinking it's £30 a litre and it takes 1 litre. I, like a buffoon, I had this belly down and I thought, well, I'll fill this reservoir up, obviously from the top, before I put the cover on. Then I can, you know, get all the air purged, but I didn't have the drain plug plugged in, and it all went poosh. So I lost a good 120 mil. Anyway, I whacked the plug in, which wasn't around me at the time. It was in the shed in a different container somewhere. So I plugged that back in, filled the oil up, put the sump on, if you like, although that's sort of the front, and bolted it all down, torqued it all up, and then you pull the 4 plungers in and out, and you can hear the air being purged out of the 4 pistons, and you also do the 2 pistons which go into the clutch mechanism, those 2 with the big convoluted rubber boots on the outside. So I had to purge all that, get the air out of it. So at the moment I'd say that's about 120 mil down. Now they do say it is 100 mil. Sometimes you need to add a little bit more if you're not getting the gears selected properly, because there's just not enough in there to service all the plungers, you know, kind of thing. So I've had to fork out another 30 quid for a litre, another litre. But there we go, lessons learned. It's something that won't happen again, not in my lifetime anyway. Hooby dooby doo. Right, I need to just crack on. I think I'm going to get Caroline out here to eye me through there, although, you know, it's more eyes are better than 4 eyes are better than 2, aren't they? Okay, it's enough of me babbling. I need a brew. Right, she is in. Took a little bit of jiggling. Caroline did the winching down below with the bike jack, and I managed to get it on the input shaft in the dual mass flywheel bearing. Slide it in, get a load of bolts in. All the bolts are in underneath. Got all these bolts in. I had that bolt in there instead of that bolt in there, because that one accepts the cable back off the starter motor, the ground starter motor, which is good. I've got to put the cap back on there, and then put the selector fork mechanism back on there, starter motor in. That's all fine and locked in, so I can put the cap back on. Where is it? There it is. Which way does it go? That way. There we go, little inspection cover. Where are you? There, it's back in. Okay, yeah, the bike jack worked absolutely beautifully. So I can now wind her back down. Now I've got to get under now and put the gearbox stay up under there, and then I can put both the drive shaft flanges in there, and then I can pull this out, get get the shafts back in, and then re-bolt up these 3 studies here into there. Then that's already wheel arch on, wheel on, both sides, and then jack down. Runny nose. Right, headache, water. Right, catch you guys in a bit. Top tip: before you put the oil, your 1.7 or 1.8 litres back into your gearbox, make sure you got your drive shaft flanges in. I poured about, I don't know, a couple 100 mil in there, and I suddenly remembered it, and I looked down into the into there, and you could just see the oil just gonna come over the lip. So I got there just in time, put both of them in. No, there's prooflet, there's no oil on the floor. So yeah, jobs are good. I've got to put these back in, drive shaft in first, put them back in. All the screws and tabs have been cleaned, so that's all good. There's the 3 nuts at the bottom of the wishbone, and look at the state of these. It's going to take some cleaning off, some sharp breaking, isn't it? I'm going to put a bit of copper slip around this face, because the alloy wheels seem to be welding to this steel quite readily, and I don't like that, so I'm going to wire brush that first. Bit of copper slip on there, pop the wheel, oh, put the wheel arch in, and then pop that wheel on. Wheeling, right. Ooh, getting close, getting close.